Are you looking for answers to the unknown? Welcome to Live with Medium Lisa Phoenix and step into the magical presence of the metaphysical realm. Lisa will share the wisdom and musings from her own experiences, have intriguing conversations with other mediums and healers, in addition to exploring a wide array of topics and teachings on intuitive and mediumship development. Lisa will be taking your calls and inviting your friends and loved ones in the spirit world to share their stories with us. Raise your awareness as you are reunited on the level of love, and let's go live with Medium Lisa Phoenix.
Hello, everybody, and happy Halloween weekend. It's a wonderful day in Southern California. Welcome to the Live with Lisa Phoenix radio show. I'm Lisa Phoenix, your host, a medium and energy intuitive. My show is all about healing, mediumship, and energy management. And my special guest this morning is Wendy Coulter, master healer, medical intuitive, and transformational coach. If you want further information about the Live with Lisa Phoenix radio show, please visit my page on the OMTimes radio site at Lisa-Phoenix. My website's getting an overhaul, but I believe you can now reach the show from my website, which is lisaphoenix.net. That's LISAPHOENIX.net. And please sign up for my Intuitive Insights newsletter and like me on Phoenix at like me on Phoenix. Really? Okay. Like me on Facebook at Lisa Phoenix Live. Now let's talk about Wendy. Wendy.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm great. Doing great. Good morning.
Good morning. I was actually going to say hi after I read all this like incredible stuff about you.
Go right ahead.
Wendy is a certified master healer, medical intuitive,
Hello.
Hi, Wendy. Sorry, and everybody out there, all you listeners, sorry about that little glitch, but both my guest and the show fell off the air. So here we are, back again. It must be something about this Halloween weekend that's
I was going to say,
technical things go a little bit crazy, but we're back, which is the most important thing, right?
yes, absolutely. Dia de los Muertos, all those muertos are acting up.
That's right. So I want to just continue here. Wendy received certifications in energy medicine and clairvoyance at Clearsight, Santa Monica, California, a center for intuitive development for over 30 years, as well as graduating from their ministerial and teachers programs. Wendy then became a staff instructor of the energy management and clairvoyant programs for 6 years. She is also a graduate of Coach Inc. and the Christopher Howard Leadership Programs. Wendy, hi.
Oh, hi, Lisa.
You can finally talk, huh?
Yeah.
And also, I just want to let everybody know that your website is www.thepracticalpath.com. That's thepracticalpath.com. Wendy, so how's it going this morning?
It's going great. It's going great. Been doing a lot of work getting my new programs together for 2016 and continuing with the medical intuitive training. And it's just very exciting. I've met a lot of very interesting movers and shakers in the field of energy medicine recently, and very like minds.
Perfect. And I hear you just went to a conference. Do you want to tell us all about that?
Sure. I went to a conference called AIHM. It's the Academy of Integrative Health and Medicine. And these are doctors, MDs, nurses, naturopaths, homeopaths, energy people, energy healers of all kinds, coming together to discuss the future of medicine. And some very inspirational speakers spoke. Deepak Chopra spoke. Tiarana Lodog spoke, Shamini Jain, really very powerful people in the mind, body, spirit connected world who have a medical background. So it was very inspiring to sit in a room with very traditional medical people who want to incorporate new and alternative, that's an old-fashioned word, but new and integrative ways of treating patients. Medical intuition, of course, is on the energy side. But it's so complementary to all of these new and exciting and sometimes old and traditional modalities. I was very inspired by it.
Oh, how wonderful. Now, for those of our listeners who may not know what medical intuition really is, can you share some with us?
Absolutely. Yes. Medical intuition is an intuitive technique. It's an intuitive skill. Of visually viewing the body systems. I can look to see a good medical intuitive can look to see how your body is functioning, all the major body systems, and what the basic tenet of all energy medicine techniques and methodologies and modalities are. One of the basic tenets is that every physical manifestation of illness and imbalance has a emotional or traumatic root. So what we do as intuitives is we look for those roots, and we can look for them on the physical level. So what is the physical, beginning of this particular issue for someone, and how it physically can be changed or healed or moved or shifted. But we're also looking for the emotional or traumatic. Sometimes it's a physical trauma, sometimes emotional, often mental. And certainly when you get to the dig down deep, you're looking at a spiritual issue as well. And from the point of origination, the root cause, that's where the healing really does take place, where the more permanent, more holistic healing can happen for clients and patients. It's very profound work. So when people come to me, they're coming to me for all kinds of reasons, sometimes purely physical, and sometimes they really want to know the deeper meanings.
Gotcha. Now, I'm I would guess that you would find that at times when they do discover the deeper stuff, it helps them heal faster, correct?
Well, yes, and it heals from a much deeper level. When you can find and view and see the emotional cause, the emotional trauma cause of a physical imbalance, it makes the healing journey, I think, a bit more whole. Not a bit, I think a lot more whole for people, because they're not just dealing with their symptoms. Symptoms are important, but you're dealing with the underlying imbalances. And this is pretty deep stuff. And it's really where medicine needs to go, not just treat symptoms.
Gotcha. And how is, because, you said you've been to this seminar, and I know you've been working with a lot of doctors and nurses or whatever, but how are the two coming together? How are they working together, or do you vision them working together?
I absolutely do. Oh, what a great question. Yeah. I mean, medical intuition, when it becomes understood, really in my vision of a perfect world, would be a job description in any doctor's office and any hospital, so that misdiagnosis can be mitigated, so that there's another view of the situation for any given patient or client with an issue. It can be looked at from all levels. That really is the definition of holistic medicine or integrative medicine, is seeing the problem from every level. So if a client has cancer, and I do work with cancer patients, I work with people with all kinds of, pretty intense stuff.
Right.
For them to see to know where the issue is really generating from an emotional level, from a spiritual level, from a mental level.
Right.
Very powerful.
Wendy, hang on for a minute. We're about to pause for a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
You got it.
Bringing you the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio, your conscious lifestyle on steroids.
Hi, this is Sylvia Henderson, intuitive life coach and energy healer. Are you ready to elevate and rise way above your normal? Be sure to listen to my show, Intuitive Transformations, on OMTimes Radio, Sunday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern. Get the inspiration you need to transform your life.
Being a radio host on IOM-FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
The truth is, you can't change the world if you're broke. I know, I've tried. Isn't it time you turned your life's calling into a profitable, freedom-based business? I'm Michelle Barr. Join me every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern for Sacred Success.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
Welcome back, everybody. You're live with Medium Lisa Phoenix and my special guest, Wendy Coulter, on the OMTimes Radio Network. Wendy, you were talking about how the medical profession, is intersecting with the holistic medical profession.
Yeah, what we're seeing is, this concept of integrative medicine really embracing the mind, body, spirit concepts that, people like Deepak Chopra have been talking about for a long, long time, decades really. And they're starting to realize that just treating symptoms is not the most effective way to help people heal on every level. And I want to give you an example of what I do that might make more sense in terms of medical intuition. This is a really simple example, but it shows, it sort of illustrates the difference between treating symptoms and treating the deeper issue.
Perfect.
I had a client who had a swollen knuckle on his left hand ring finger, and it was very painful, and he wanted me to use my modality, and my modality is energy healing. It's a form of energy healing called biofield balance that I've developed over time. And it is an energy medicine technique. But before I do that, I use my technique, I gave a medical intuitive reading. And the reason I do that is to get to the bottom of it. So I looked at his knuckle, and in his knuckle, I saw heartbreak and sorrow. So of course there was inflammation. It looked, I could see that there was a lot of inflamed liquid and fluid around the knuckle. So visually I could see all that when I scanned it, but emotionally I saw heartbreak and sorrow. And I said, this is what your knuckle is showing me. And he told me that he had just, in the recent days prior, broken up with the love of his life, the woman that he thought he'd be spending the rest of his life with. And that he'd been very stoic about it and very reasonable and thoughtful, and he hadn't cried and he hadn't expressed emotion. He was just sort of going on with his life. And what his knuckle did, left hand ring finger, which could not be more metaphoric,
right,
is it swelled up and became inflamed, and the symptom of his emotional heartbreak was showing up in that particular part of his body. And there's many things to talk about here, but I did the treatment, and he told me a week later or so that he cried. He went home, he allowed himself to cry and really release, and the knuckle went down the next day. And this is after several days of pain and swelling. So that was it's a really good example of an emotional route to a physical manifestation.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, because I tell my clients, you know what, it's going to come out one way or another,
Darn straight.
Absolutely. And obviously I'm not working from a medical, and I'm more working on the emotional, spiritual side, but it's so true. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, there's a couple of things about that story that I found so poignant. One is, had he gone to a doctor and gotten whatever you would get for that, some sort of antibiotic or whatever to if there's infection, whatever the doctor would have given him for the symptom, he would not have had the opportunity to connect with the emotional root and release it. And then, of course, the body affecting a healing miraculously, you would say, on its own, is not so miraculous. It's a one-to-one. The other part of that, which I find so fascinating, if you don't mind me going on here, is that it manifested in his left-hand ring finger. He could not have gotten a wedding ring over that knuckle if he tried.
Right.
And that's something so poignant about the body that medical intuition really teaches you, and that is how literal the body can be. It's fascinating.
So I have a question I want to throw in here for you. And if I have a question, I know my listeners do too. So my question would be, you had, during this process, you had discovered that several days prior, he had broken up with the love of his life, right? Mm-hmm. And then you performed energy healing, but is it, because I know that when you break up with somebody like that, it's a process for healing. It doesn't just happen. Mm-hmm. So by you doing the energy, what I'm saying is I'm still sure he had work to do following,
Oh, absolutely.
So then did you get rid of just the bodily manifestation, and then he had to take it kind of from there?
Well, he didn't come back for another session, but he did let me know how valuable it was. He was able to cry about a very painful breakup that he was not able to cry about. And the just seeing that in his finger allowed him the permission to release his emotions about it. And that word permission is a very important word in any energy modality, especially in medical intuition. Because one of the things that we look for as medical intuitives, all medical intuitives should be looking for, where the permissions are in the person's energy, how much permission they have to let this issue go, to heal, to shift their experience. And, when issues are chronic and stuck and persistent patterns over a long period of time, that's the first place I go when I look in someone's energy, is to see how much permission they have to release this, and to work with the body, the spirit, the mind, and what am I missing? Physical, mental, emotional, and the emotions.
That's a big one.
That's a big one, right? To help them really shift.
And, it's an interesting point that you bring up, because I really get a sense when I deal with people as well that there's so much judgment around giving ourselves permission to let go of things. And there's just so much judgment around it. And
in a nutshell, Lisa, that has so much to do with our experience of health and healing as a practitioner and as just a person with a body. We really have to do a lot when it comes to self-care, self-love, fourth chakra issues, second chakra issues, that the fourth chakra is the heart center, giving and receiving love. The second chakra is the emotions center, being able to fully experience your emotions. I have a lot of stories on the energy work side. We're just releasing energy from those two chakras, allowing people to access more of their ability to give and receive love. It's massive.
Can you tell us a story or two about that?
Sure. I'll talk about it from the medical intuitive perspective.
Okay. I just want listeners to get just more of an idea of what is actually going on here.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you that in the training, I make a very big distinction between energy healing and medical intuition. Medical intuition, I'll just start here. Medical intuition is a skill set that supports all modalities, including energy healing, including, traditional medicine, allopathic medicine, including homeopathy, naturopathy, you name it, acupuncture, etc. So in the program, I get people from every kind of holistic and traditional perspective and field. So medical intuition as a skill set is different than healing, energy healing. So as I said, my modality is called biofield balance healing, which, by the way, I also teach the basics of in the medical intuitive training so people can have something to use.
Gotcha.
If they don't have a modality of their own. So when one of the first things I will do very often, it depends on what people come to me for, but if they come to me for an issue in their gut biome, for example, they're having intestinal issues, not only am I going to look at their intestines to see how the food is moving through, what is being absorbed, how the intestines are doing their job properly or not, what the blood cells are doing, all of those visual scanning techniques as a medical intuitive, I can see how the systems are actually working. And then I'm going to look to see where the original traumas are, why this issue is happening. Is it Crohn's? Is it colitis? Are there ulcers in other places? What exactly is going on and why? And the body will tell me why. It'll give me information about the original where the imbalance started. And sometimes it starts very early in someone's life. They could be born with some kind of genetic, misfire, something happening, which causes a lifelong issue. But often it's related to other things.
Okay.
So that's the medical intuitive side. Now, I will also, as a medical intuitive, take a look at their chakra system, because the second chakra and the third chakra are all right where that gut area is. So I'm going to be looking at what that chakra is also telling me about this imbalance. And chakras are great to look at because they have tons of information on the person's physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual experiences in this life, in this body, and in past lives too. You can definitely look at prior information. So it's almost like having this fantastic filing cabinet to look through of a person's experience and letting their guidance show me what I need to let them know so that they have the information they need right at that moment to move towards health and healing.
No, that's great. I was going to ask though, now, how do you help somebody if it turns out to be something genetic?
Wow, that's a good question. Then it becomes a much more profound conversation in terms of soul path.
Gotcha.
Why did you incarnate? What are the reasons for incarnating with this genetic, issue? And of course, everyone has every question you would imagine. Well, how can I shift this? How can I change this? How can I restructure my energy to not attract the imbalance and attract more balance or move towards more balance? Look, there's all kinds of information now that we can change our genetic makeup. If you read the work of Bruce Lipton, I hope I said that right, Deepak Chopra has a new book on restructuring your genes. And there's actually a good deal of information out there now just coming to the fore where we can do things to actually restructure our genetic makeup. It's fascinating.
Wow.
All very new. I learned a lot about that over the last week, and I encourage people to look at that. If you do have a genetic issue, I always say go to the energy first, look at it from that point of view first, and then it's an opposite way to do things, but I say look at it first and then discuss your protocols from that point, and then you'll see what's going to work best.
Gotcha. It all does. It sounds fascinating, and I'm talking here because I knew that was going to happen right in a second. So I was like, oh, let's just slide into this. Everybody, thank you for listening. Stay with us. We'll be right back. You're listening to OMTimes Radio, live with Lisa Phoenix and my special guest, medical intuitive Wendy Coulter. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM FM. Join Elliot Jolish, the business therapist, each Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern for the Elliot Jolish Hour as he interviews business experts on your behalf. And you're invited to email your business questions to questions@ecjgroup.com for answers, live, on air every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on the Elliot Jolish Hour. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Do you want to be a better communicator? Do you want to better connect with the important people in your life? Do you want to enrich your relationships? If so, join me, Matthew Cooper, on the Positive Control System Show every Wednesday evening at 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on OMTimes Radio. I'll meet you there.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes.
Welcome back, everybody. You're live with medium Lisa Phoenix and my special guest, medical intuitive Wendy Coulter. Gosh, I'm really having problems pronouncing things today. It's kind of like my mouth's in a jumble.
Too much candy last night?
Actually, I wish,
Yeah.
So what can you talk to us a little bit about you're known for this medical intuitive training program you have. Can you share with us like how that all started and how
Sure.
you ended up going in that direction and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
Okay, a little bit about my background, I guess. You read a little bit, didn't you? In my bio? I'm not sure.
I
Yeah.
did, but I just wanted to, I actually want you to talk about the training, but I
Sure.
also wanted you just to talk a little bit about yourself. I know
Sure.
that you had performed a little bit of self-healing on yourself and, so I just kind of wanted you to.
Sure. Yeah. I refer back to experience that I had in my early 30s, when all this mind-body stuff sort of came together for me. I had been reading, always interested in spiritual things. I was always very intuitive as a child. And of course, in our society, intuition is very misunderstood and usually squashed in intuitive people at a young age.
Gotcha.
But as I kind of grew and learned things and studied things, I wanted to try my hand at mind-body medicine. It just was so fascinating to me. I read Deepak Chopra's book, Quantum Healing, which is a real seminal book in the field of mind-body medicine. Mm-hmm. And he was describing how he was helping his cancer patients go into remission just by using visualizations. Mm-hmm. And at around that time, my body developed a benign tumor. I knew it was benign. I had it checked, and the doctor said, "We're going to remove this anyway, just to be on the safe side." And I said, okay, well, I'm going to do this Deepak Chopra exercise where you visualize, things just sort of dissolving and blowing away. And she said, do whatever you want, kid.
Yeah.
And I did. And I was doing TM at the time. I was very much trying different things. And I did TM. I love TM. And after every meditation for about 5 minutes, I would visualize this little tumor just, remember Scrubbing Bubbles, the little commercial for scrubbing? Yeah, Scrubbing Bubbles. They cleaned everything and they were so happy about it. So I had these little scrubbing bubbles in my imagination, just scrub this little tumor. And I didn't even pay attention to it. And I knew one of the keys here for me was that I wasn't freaked out about the tumor because it was benign. I knew it was going to be gone. So I didn't have a charge on it. It was easy for me to do this exercise. And something about that was critical because I needed to not be emotionally caught up in the experience of it.
Right.
So that was an area of neutrality. And neutrality focus is a very much a focus of the medical intuitive training. But back to the story. 2 weeks later, I go to the doctor for the pre-op. She examines me, and I hear her gasp. And I'm like, oh, my God, what happened?
Right.
And she said, well, it's half the size of what it was. And we did the operation. It's never come back. But that was a really powerful experience for me in just how our directed thoughts can shift our physical experience. And in my intro talk, I give people a couple of exercises in exactly how this works in the body. Our thoughts, our minds can affect a physical change. It's very powerful stuff, and it's not hard. Mm-hmm. So all of this set me off on this journey of becoming a healer, and I studied a little Reiki, and I studied a little bit of this, a little bit of that, some shamanic stuff, some crystal healing stuff, and then I went to school and became a teacher at the school. And I realized at some point a few years ago that I really, really wanted to teach healers, and I wanted to focus on medical intuition as opposed to other kinds of intuition. And my style and version of healing as opposed to other styles and versions of healing. And I developed my program. And the program really is geared towards holistic practitioners or people who have the intention of becoming holistic practitioners. The reason for that is that my very strong, I believe that it's the practitioners, the healers who are going to shift medicine into the next centuries for humanity. Medicine is in a very bad state right now in that it's really, Western medicine does best with trauma, if you have a broken bone or you're having a heart attack or you need a strong antibiotic or something like that, that's where it does well. But it does not do well for treating the whole patient, the whole client, the whole body, the whole systems. So, for everybody now, we have to go to, half a dozen healers, meaning, psychologists, doctors, therapists, this, that, the other, to really understand what's going on for us at any given time. And that's not good when we have a health crisis or a health issue that's long term. And that's where I see medical intuition really bridging some gaps here. If there were doctors who had this skill, I should say when, then misdiagnosis, mistreating with the incorrect drugs, sort of shooting in the dark, can be mitigated.
Gotcha. But then on the other hand, too, I think in some ways there's still a need for those other types of practitioners, like
without question,
psychologists and because one practitioner isn't going to be able to have the time. Do you know what I'm saying with certain issues?
Yes, and let me be clear about all that. Of course, we need our psychologists, our craniosacral, our massage therapist. Of course, we need all of our fantastic practitioners. Mm-hmm. And all of these practitioners, here's what I do. I'm an energy healer. That's my modality. I am not a psychologist. I do not diagnose. I'm not a doctor. I'm not licensed to do that.
Right.
But when I look at the body and I ask the body, the mind, and spirit what it needs, and it tells me for a client, what I can do at that point is refer them.
Gotcha.
And I have a nice fat Rolodex, where I refer to people that I trust, that I know can help this person with good healing, or I take a look at their doctors and see if they're getting what they need, from certain things. Very often bodies will tell me acupuncture will really work for this, or this particular therapy that this person is doing right now is not really giving them what they're hoping for or what they're wanting. And so I can kind of look and assess and just tell them what I see. Look, people can walk out of my office or off a session and we have free will. We can do whatever we want. But I absolutely strongly believe that all of these therapeutic modalities can work together. What if a doctor prescribed yoga?
Right.
What if a medical doctor, an allopathic, your endocrinologist said, well, you know what? Your stress level is so high. I'm going to recommend that you do mindfulness training. Right. Or I'm going to recommend that you see this nutritionist that can help you with this gut biome issue that's not my area, but I see that it's impacting your stress levels. This is what I'm talking about. This is integrative medicine, and this is where medical intuition supports all of that.
Exactly. And, I've also actually, speaking of which, when you were talking about yoga, I've actually been seeing more and more that they've been finding that yoga has been helping people more a lot of times than, say, physical therapy.
Well, and I know some brilliant physical therapists.
No, right. So
and I would say for people out there that are looking for solutions to what's going to work for them best, again, that's where medical intuition really works well because, you can look at all these things and say, well, this can help here, this can help there, but go try everything. I mean, really, I'm a big advocate on trying everything. And if something doesn't work for you, try something else because we want to keep moving forward and we want to keep healing. At this conference, there was study after study, evidence-based studies and in articles in peer-reviewed journals about the efficacy and power of these alternative therapies, yoga, meditation. I mean, they're saying meditation is better than antidepressants and things like that. Well, that's all fantastic. And people, that information is available for anybody to look at and review.
Right. Right. And again, I also think too, like you say, that's one of the great reasons to bring in a medical intuitive because it's also going to be individual for individual people.
Yes, and I will say this. I am not the kind of healer or medical intuitive that does not say, don't take the pill. If the pill is going to work and the body wants the pill, take the pill.
Right, right.
I've had clients, sadly, some sad stories with a wonderful woman who had breast cancer, and it was a recurrence of breast cancer. She did not want to go for surgery. She was really insistent that she not repeat surgery and chemotherapy. However, when I looked at her body wanted it, and her body asked for it, and she chose not to, and that was her free will choice.
Right.
But she came to me for that look, and when I looked, that is what I saw, and she heard it from me, but she wanted to do other things. So in some cases, the pill is exactly what's needed, or the procedure, and that's, again, you can't go into a medical intuitive practice with any biases.
Yeah, and talk about that for a little, because I do know that, there is all this stuff out there that talks about you can heal yourself and you can do this and you can do that, and you can, but I think that there's and a lot of people wonder, like, well, why isn't this working and stuff? Mm-hmm. And I do think the fear factor and what you were talking about before, it's like what animates you plays a big part in sometimes why you can't do things yourself that maybe other people outside. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, look, there's that great quote where spiritual beings having a human experience. That is really the truth of it. We have bodies. Our bodies have their own consciousness. That's something that's not really understood. And I talked about a little bit earlier when I said our bodies are very literal in their expressions. I talk to people's spleens, their livers, their kidneys and livers and spleens talk back to me.
Right.
And they have their own consciousness, as does the entire body as a whole. So, I'm not sure I'm answering your question, but all of this has to do with it. It's many, many levels. We need other people. We need our healers. I need healers. When I'm experiencing an issue, I go to my community of healers. We are by nature. Do I need to pick this up?
Yeah.
Okay.
We will be right back, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. You're listening to Live with Lisa Phoenix and my special guest, medical intuitive Wendy Coulter, on the OMTimes Radio Network. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
What if living didn't have to be so serious?
What if you could move beyond your problems with greater confidence and ease than you've ever imagined?
Throw your labels out the window and join the Irreverent Therapist for practical tips and a very different way of approaching the changes you would like to create.
Marilyn Bradford
and Pam Hodling
have empowered hundreds of people to come out of self-judgment, quit looking to experts, and begin to create the lives they desire.
Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Irreverent Therapist Show.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Matt Connerton here. Join Jen Coffey and I twice a week for Matt Connerton Unleashed, a political talk show that's a little different than what you're used to. No liberal or conservative agenda here, just an honest dialogue about truth and how things really work in the world of politics. Matt Connerton Unleashed, every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back, everybody. You're live with Medium Lisa Phoenix and my special guest, Wendy Coulter, medical intuitive on the OMTimes Radio Network. Wendy, you were saying how important it is to work to have other people.
Yes, absolutely.
You can't do it all on your own.
No, and we're not supposed to. We really aren't. We're supposed to, that's my spiritual perspective, is that we choose to incarnate here in order to interact, move along our path, grow emotionally, spiritually, physically, and mentally in every way. And we can't do that in a vacuum. Otherwise we'd all be sitting on mountaintops and having a groovy time. We need others. And when we have a health challenge, we absolutely need others, much more than we think we do. I was just going to say, I agree, but then you can throw it back on the other side too. I also think it's good to research and be informed yourself so that you're not completely, you know what I mean, on either side. Yeah. Absolutely, without question. People are very passive when it comes to their health. People often are very passive.
I think it's because of fear.
Yes. Yes, it is. I could write 20 books on fear. Fear is really probably the biggest blinders we have in life on every level. And I've seen it in my own life, and in my clients and friends and loved ones. It's really the killer. It's the mind killer. It's the spirit killer. And we have to train ourselves to not succumb to it. Neuroplasticity is a new field of science and very much works with the concepts of the amygdala, the fight or flight brain. And this is something the medical world is just starting to learn about. But people are affecting huge changes in their health by working with the neuroplasticity ideas of calming the amygdala. It's really quite powerful science, and I'm thrilled to see that it's coming up because definitely when I look at things from a medical intuitive perspective where there's fear, there is a block and blocks to healing and to just getting correct information. Now, I will say is this. Mm-hmm.
No, before you go, I want to hear what you're about to say, but I also want to go, since this is somewhat new and everything, is there anything you can advise listeners if they want to kind of read up on it or anything? Do you have
on neuroplasticity? Yeah. Just Google it, honestly, okay. Google it. And there are a couple of programs out there for people, which I will endorse, for people, not that I get anything from these endorsements at all. I've seen them work, for people who have fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, and PTSD, and multiple chemical sensitivity. There are programs out there for people now, a couple of them that are supposedly quite good. I've seen them work. But just Google it because doctors are starting to see the effects of using neuroplasticity techniques in all kinds of physical issues. And what that does, in a nutshell, is it helps you retrain your fight or flight, the amygdala responses, so that the body isn't always responding to it. And creating symptoms around that response, which goes hand in hand with mind-body medicine. It really is the epitome, like the definition of mind-body medicine, in terms of, turning off or mitigating that fear response. So this is all brand new. We're going to hear a lot more about it in the public sector, I think in years to come here, hopefully sooner than later.
Okay.
But what I will say is, and I just want to wrap up that conversation by saying one of the best ways to mitigate fear and to connect to your body, to your spirit, with your mind is meditation. I just don't know another more direct way. And it is a powerful, powerful way. So if you don't have, I'm speaking to everybody out there listening, if you don't have a meditation practice, a regular one, please find one that works for you. There's a lot out there, TM, mindfulness. I teach one in my program that's a visualization technique. There's all kinds of stuff out there. Please start incorporating that into your life and you'll see changes.
Wonderful. Yeah. And Wendy, can you talk to us a little bit about, you have a program coming up in 2016 for more the lay person and not so much the practitioner?
Yes, I'm developing a program for everybody to learn how to work with your energy. It's a meditation technique that you can use to affect every part of your life. People just usually think about meditation as being a way to calm and center, which it certainly is. But one sort of lesser known way to use meditation techniques, visualization techniques, is to really shift the energy in your experience of love and relationships, or money, or certainly health, and all aspects of your life, career, all these goal things. There's ways to affect it. I've taught courses in self-healing and meditation for self-healing, and meditation for creativity, and meditation for all kinds of things on my website. I've got some audios people can listen to for free with these fun little meditations, but I'm going to teach a whole program on how to do that. And that'll come up I'm developing it now, so I hope to have that up. And just check my website or subscribe to the newsletter or the blog, and you'll find out more about that.
No, right. And because, again, you and I had talked a little bit earlier, and you were saying, especially as a result of being at this conference, you were really discovering how much people need this. And so, tell me why, Wendy. Why do people need this?
Because
more and more.
More and more. Because our life is stressful. We have all kinds of things coming at us at all times. And what it seems to me is needed most, especially when there's a health challenge or a life challenge, is a practical set of steps to go within, to balance and clean your own energy for yourself, and work with your own energy in these areas of your life that you want to improve. That is absolutely doable and achievable, and that's what I'm planning to teach with the Energy Essentials program in 2016. And for any practitioners out there, the Medical Intuitive program starts on April 9th and 10th in Los Angeles. I do teach all around the country, and if there's a group of people who want me to come and teach, just connect with me and we can set up a program. Do you mind if I talk a little bit about the program?
I'd love it. Go for it.
Good. It's a 4-month, the level 1 is a 4-month program, 1 weekend intensive a month for 4 months. There's a lot of homework in between those weekends and practice. Again, it starts April 9th and 10th in Los Angeles. I'm doing a program in Portland coming up, I believe, in January, and perhaps one in San Diego later in the year. But just connect with me if you're interested, and I will let you know more about it. But it's a very comprehensive program, and it doesn't, for practitioners, you'll find your intuition will really start to work when you start using these techniques. People are always surprised at you can definitely learn the basics in 4 months.
Right. And this is for all different kinds of practitioners, right?
Yes. Okay. I get psychologists, social workers, believe it or not, acupuncturists, doctors, MDs, nurses, you name it. Anybody in the health coaches, definitely.
I was going to say, and also energy workers too.
And absolutely.
I think some people might get intimidated because you're taught. Do you know what I mean? Your average energy healer, and
a lot of Reiki people, Reiki masters take the program, pranic healers, certainly touch for health practitioners, any kind of already energy. If you're already working with energy, this is going to be, it's the perfect fit because there's no hurdles to overcome in terms of your understanding of energy. Sometimes with the people from the allopathic side, there's a bit of skepticism that they have to overcome for themselves, but it's not difficult to do. And everybody who takes this program already self-identifies in one way or another with the feeling of being intuitive, the understanding of being intuitive, just saying, I don't know how to use it, but I certainly understand that it comes around. And when it does, I want to be able to expand it and develop it. And that's what this program does.
That's just absolutely wonderful. I think it's awesome. And I recommend everybody to check out Wendy's page, thepracticalpath.com, because all that information is on there, is it not?
Yes. On the front page, there's the very top, you'll see a medical intuitive training. There's a big blue button. Click that button. It takes you to the page with all the information about the program and the advanced program as well, and other things that we're doing in the medical intuitives community. So please do check that out and just connect with me with any questions.
Great. And Wendy, we're really getting short on time here. Is there something you'd like to say to sum up everything we've kind of talked about today?
Oh my goodness.
I know that's a big one.
No, thank you for asking. I would say, trust your intuition, trust your gut feelings, know that they can be developed with the right practice, the right training, the right, program. And it's all there. It's all available. Mind-body medicine is not something airy-fairy for the future. It's here and now.
Right. And again, as you said, you really feel there's going to be more and more that's going to be coming out.
Yeah, we're on the cusp of a real shift in all kinds in the health and wellness fields, for sure.
That's very wonderful. That's wonderful. And Wendy, I want to thank you so much for being on the show this morning. And thank you for helping all of us kind of just expand our awareness. It's just, you bring stuff forward that is so important, for our own evolution. And I really thank you for that.
Thank you.
No problem. As I mentioned earlier to all of you out there in Radio Land, please visit Wendy's website at www.thepracticalpath.com. That's ThePracticalPath.com. I want to once again thank all you listeners out there for hanging out with us this morning. If you want further information about the Live with Lisa Phoenix show, please visit my website at lisaphoenix.net. Sign up for my Intuitive Insights newsletter, and please like me on Facebook. Live with Lisa Phoenix is on every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 10 a.m. Pacific Time. So please tune back in with us next week. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you, Lisa. Bye-bye.
Bye.